Yeah, so when you have students in the less fortunate communities, they're going to always be at a disadvantage because their property values aren't as high as these places that you mentioned, Glencoe,
Which
so
mean the per pupil, the dollar amount per
per
pupil
pupil.
is much higher.
That's correct. That's correct.
And just because you got I mean, just because you've got a higher per pupil dollar amount, there's still some things that administration has to do to make sure that the teachers give a higher level quality education
Hmm.
too. So there are some schools on the west side, I won't mention their names because I don't want anybody to get mad at me, but some of them are private schools or charter schools that have a lower per dollar amount for students, and some of the students are excelling beyond students that have a higher dollar amount. But it's
Yeah,
due to the culture and administration and the mission and vision of that particular institution.
you're absolutely
So
correct.
I saw in your literature you're talking about you want to focus on school funding, more funding for education. What do you see funding for more education or better education? How will it impact the people in the 10th district?
It will impact them in such a way, whereas education, first of all, education breeds opportunity. Now, if we're pouring more money into funding for preparing our kids for the green technology, we start preparing them at these pre-Ks, and we start dealing with our after-school programs. I believe that contributes to their growth. In that way, it's allowing the parents to also uh, focus more on what it is they need to do as far as working
Right.
and things like that along
So
those
you
lines.
talking about after school programs for those that may be a little older, you remember they used to have social center.
Exactly. I used to participate in social centers.
Social
Yes,
center and places like the Henry Horner Boys Club, the
absolutely.
Midwest Boys Club, which was changed to the King Boys Club, which is on Sacramento and Washington. The Henry Horner Boys Club no longer exists because they tore it down
Hmm.
to build townhouses on HUD property for CHA. But Major Adams was able to move
Yes, it
and
was.
get the Major Adams Boys and Girls and Family Center, and they moved on Horn and Washington between Lake Street. You know Major.
Yes, I do. Yeah, it's
Tell
programs
us a
like
good
that.
story about Major.
What drums and bugles? What can I say?
What can you say?
you know,
Drums and bugles.
that's right. You know, it was programs like that that gave my mom a peace of mind. It's programs like that that allowed me to do my homework before I got ready to play basketball. So I think that the social centers at the time were very effective.
Right. Yeah, and another thing, not only have you focused on education, but when we look at education, you've got what they call post-secondary education, or some people talk to it about what are you going to do after you graduate from high school, post-secondary education.
Right,
That's the new buzzword rather than using going to college,
right.
because some young people had this image of themselves or self-concept where they can't see themselves going to college. And you were talking to me about vocational and technical education. You're talking about green jobs and apprenticeship programs. Can you
Apprenticeships.
elaborate on that?
Yeah, the apprenticeship programs. Because as I mentioned earlier, as you talk to a lot of these young men out here, you'll find that a lot of them want to do their own work. You have guys who want to be plumbers. You have guys who want to be electricians. They want to be carpenters. They want to work for themselves. And I think that bringing apprenticeship programs to the 10th district, that will allow them that opportunity to do just that.